In this video, I'm going to convince you to stop trying to discover your passion and why purpose is more powerful. So you've probably heard many gurus, coaches, and personal development junkies talking about discovering your passion and then presumably following your passion once you've found it. So following your passion is pretty straightforward. Once you discover it, you do it. Got it. But there is a flaw in this notion of discovering your passion because it gives the impression that your passion is hiding somewhere, waiting only to be unearthed. It perpetuates the myth that finding one's passion is like falling in love at first sight. Like, aha, there you are. I've been waiting to find you my whole life. And this is not how passion works. Passion is not something that you have to find. It's something that you develop. The reason this misunderstanding is so important is because many of the people who are determined to discover their passion get frustrated and disappointed when they don't find it. They feel like they're trapped in some sort of wild goose chase or a never-ending hunt for a phantom light bulb moment, because they are. They think that there must be something wrong with them. They judge themselves for not having that one thing that clearly stands out as their ultimate passion. They don't love anything so much that they would dedicate their lives to it, or that they're so enamored with that they're frothing at the mouth. And then it becomes even more infuriating for the people who also expect this passion of theirs to be paired with a distinguished talent. And when they find themselves unable to unearth any latent talent or hidden passion, despite their obsessive digging, then they end up questioning their entire existence. So if you've had a hard time discovering your passion, that is okay, because your quest is based on a belief system that is totally flawed. The truth about passion is that it develops over time. You're not born with it. It's not a latent emotion that only needs to be triggered. It doesn't show up in your life with an explosion of fireworks. Passion is cultivated. And a lot of the time, it starts out as a barely detectable interest in something. And then it grows. So I'm sorry if that disappoints you, but I promise this new way of looking at passion will lead to greater fulfillment than believing that it's locked away somewhere and that you haven't found the key. So here are 6 characteristics of passion development. First, passion often develops accidentally. It begins as an interest or a slight inclination. So you might have an unintended experience that triggers intrigue, whether it's maybe a science fair experiment in elementary school, or a guest speaker that you saw in high school, or an enthusiastic college professor who made an otherwise uninteresting topic suddenly appealing to you. And once this interest is triggered, you follow the impulse and you look into it. Sometimes the interest quickly fades, but other times you continue to seek to learn more and to experience this thing again. Another thing is that passion takes encouragement and exposure. So in most cases, the initial encounter with the object of interest isn't enough to seal the deal of feeling passionate about it. It takes multiple events and experiences that re-trigger that interest over time. So having a mentor or a parent that encourages further exploration or future exposure is often the catalyst needed to anchor a stronger interest in a topic. So another factor is that passion isn't always enjoyable. This is a big misunderstanding. Passion often begins by following an interest that you're intrinsically finding to be enjoyable and fun. And you continue to follow the interest because you enjoy what you're doing, right? However, as your interest begins to develop into a passion and you get more involved in it, it also becomes more challenging because it's getting more advanced. There may even be aspects of this activity that you don't like or that feel like a chore, but as the level of passion develops for it, the benefits far outweigh these costs. So another factor is that passion doesn't require talent or skill, at least not at first. By definition, when we are first beginning at something, it starts out as something that we're not good at. So passion has to start with play. like a willingness to explore for curiosity's sake, not for the reward of being good at it. This is one of the things that holds people back from developing their passions. You see, they're unwilling to do something that they're bad at. Even in the situations where some level of natural ability might be required, true skill and talent are developed over time. So that leads into the next one, which is passion takes practice. In order for proficiency to develop, which invites a deeper level of exploration and further develops a passion, time and effort must be applied. For an interest to develop into a passion, the knowledge or activity have to become second nature or unconscious. A skill or expertise must be developed. This ability allows the activity to reach a higher level of enjoyment when it leads to a state of flow because you just get into it. And in order to reach this level of mastery, it takes deliberate practice. Not simply exposure or repetition, but commitment to improving through hours a day spent dedicated to the endeavor. And the last one is that purpose amplifies passion. When passion is directed towards a higher purpose, a higher level of meaning and fulfillment can be achieved. Purpose is the conviction that what you are doing matters because it's integrally connected to the well-being of others. And when you can see the impact your passionate efforts make, you feel even more strongly about what you do. So the question then is, what do you do if you don't have a fully developed passion? First, let yourself off the hook. Recognize that a life spent moderately pursuing varied interests will not lead to a clearly identifiable passion, and that's okay. Stop trying to force it. It's never too late to start to pursue your interests more deeply. And having a single high-intensity passion is not a requirement for a fulfilling life. Phew. So second, being that you do know some about what your interests are and your inclinations, even if they're moderate, follow the trail. Deep down, you do know certain things that you have no interest in and others that you do. So allow yourself to explore and play. And third, be open to trial and error. Don't be afraid to guess if you're not sure. Just try it. There isn't just one thing that you can become passionate about. And don't be afraid to stop pursuing any interests that lose their appeal. That's okay too. Trying many things, even more than once, is how interests are identified and developed. And lastly, consider if any of the characteristics of passion development have been holding you back. Have you allowed yourself to follow your impulses or interests? Or do you brush them off as unimportant? Have you put yourself in situations where you could have more exposure to your interests or get more support? Or do you live within the bounds of your comfort zone? Have you allowed yourself to move forward even in the face of unpleasant aspects of your interest? Or have you expected perfection and rejected hard work and necessary effort? Have you allowed yourself to play and fail? Or have you avoided your interests because you aren't great at them yet? Have you applied yourself to deeper exploration through deliberate practice? Or have you left the development of your passion up to chance or when I feel like it? Have you considered the impact you would like to make in the lives of others and the meaning this would bring to your pursuit? This last question is perhaps the most important of all. Purpose is more powerful than passion. Sometimes focusing beyond the narrow confines of your own interests and embracing the broader implications of your life's pursuits can be a much more compelling motivator than simply a feeling of passion. Not only does passion focus towards making a difference in the lives of others take the experience of following your passion to another level, it can also be the trigger for that passion in the first place. Because if there was a shortcut to passion that bypassed the long journey of interest development, It would be a calling to fulfill a higher purpose. A deep desire to contribute that stirs us at a personal level can be just the catalyst that we need to dive full-bodied into an activity. And once we're engaged at such a high level, we are compelled to continue our exposure to this cause. We're driven by a deep level of fulfillment, and we deliberately commit to continuous improvement. And a passion is born. And this is why I believe that discovering your purpose is a much better aim. Shoot for making the difference in the world that you are uniquely able to make, and the passion will follow.